about the most amazing product I've ever come across that I'm using. It's called LifeWave, and you can get more information at lindellteam.com. But today we have Renita Brannan on with us, and she is the leading enroller worldwide. She's got an amazing story, but she is going to fill in the blanks of all the stuff we didn't learn the other day from the inventor of this amazing product. So, Renita, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you doing? Happy to be here, Mike. Thanks
All
for
right,
having me.
well, thanks for coming on. I know a lot of people have a lot of questions out there. I figured I would have you on we had David on the other night with the LifeWave, with him inventing it and everything. We went through a lot of stuff, but I've listened to you before, and you're just an amazing wealth of information. So why don't I'll sit back here and I'll let you get right into it.
Oh, I'd love that. And I'd love for you to chime in because I know you are having excellent product experience over there, right? And you're seeing it all around you with people that you love and care about, and they're having an amazing product experience. So, yeah, I work closely with David. He's amazing. And I think the biggest question we have to ask everybody is, have you been patched yet? Has all these incredible viewers of yours, they're freedom seeking, they're health seeking, they're financial freedom seeking, have they been patched yet? And that's really what we want to teach them, how to activate their own stem cells today, Mike, because this is an incredible opportunity for people to take their health back. You know, it's make their health great again, right? And so if they haven't been patched, again, they can join your team. Your team is a fast-growing team right now where you're bringing in all of these incredible patriots that are looking for health freedom and possibly financial freedom. So we're going to move through this slide, and that way you guys can understand a little bit more about the potential of this patch. I actually call it the power patch, Mike. I call it the miracle patch. So there's lots of great names for it, but let's give a little education real quick about stem cells. And you can chime in at any point if you have questions. So when a baby is created, the very first cell that's created is a stem cell. And the stem cell goes to create every other cell and organ tissue system in the body. So from that stem cell, your heart develops, your lungs develop, everything develops from stem cells. So they literally are God's gift to us, right? The New England Journal of Medicine has stated that the #1 indicator of wellness is directly correlated to the number of these adult stem cells in our bloodstream. You know, Mike, this is incredible because I think it doesn't say it's number 14 or number 27 or number 60. It's literally the #1 indicator of how well we are. You know, I pray that there's a time where we walk into the doctor and they measure your stem cells and they say, we better see where they're at so we know where to go, right? But that currently doesn't exist. So the beautiful thing about stem cells is they have the incredible ability to become any other cell in the body. So, Mike, I know you've had a great product experience. I can tell you my product experience. I've seen miracle after miracle, but the truth be told is the patch is going to work different for every single person that puts it on, dependent on where they need the most help. You know, in some cases, it's people's skin. Sometimes it's their eyes. Sometimes it's their heart. You know, everybody's body is a little bit different. Sometimes it's that old aching knee. But what I love about the patch, God knows exactly where those stem cells need to go. That's how he created our body. So stem cells will actually go to the biggest point of inflammation in the body. So, you know, as a teenager, like it says here, Mike, we have, you know, 1 billion of these circulating stem cells. That's why young people, you know, they recover fast, they heal fast, right? We saw with the pandemic, they got better quick, right? But by age 30, and I know you're a little older than that, Mike, but by age 30, there's a 60% reduction of our stem cells. 60% reduction at age 30. And I think 30 is really young, right? And then by age 50, which you're probably around that age, you have a 75% reduction of your stem cell activity, which is why as people age, they get more aches and pains. As they age, they get more gray hair, right? As they age, a lot of times they'll be prone to more diseases and things like that. And then check that out. By age 60, the number has dropped to a 90% reduction of stem cell activity in the body, which again, why the aging process happens, right? By age 80.
And by the way, I'm over 60, so look what it's already done for me.
Well, I said the other day, you are looking so much brighter already, no joke. Like your skin looks like you, reversed age 15 years. You look great. And again, everybody's body's going to be different. But
I have seen a big difference there, but keep going.
So I'm going to show you a picture here coming up on this slide, but I don't know if you have any 80-year-old viewers, but I'm sure you do. And they're the one that are the right thinkers in our country right now, right? But these guys have a 95% reduction of their stem cell activity, Mike. And this is why when elderly people sometimes break a hip, they don't even like to do surgery because they're worried that they're not going to recover or repair, right? So basically, to put it simply, when we're out of stem cells, we're out. We're done on the planet. Like we go to heaven to be with Jesus, right? So the bottom line is what can we do to activate these stem cells other than go down and get injections? So when I got started with this, we had considered taking my mom. She was diagnosed with Parkinson's about 5.5 years ago. We considered taking her to Tijuana for stem cell injections. You hear these incredible stories in Tijuana and Panama, and they're taking these people down and they're literally getting injecting with these things and they're coming back different people, right? Well, we've called down there and it was like $20,000. You know, we had to travel there. The gal said, you know, it might work, it might not. It helps 50% of the people. You might have to come down multiple visits, you know, and I talked to my brothers and, you know, we're over here in North Dakota. We're pretty conservative. And so my brothers are like 20 grand and it might not work. I don't think we should do it. Right. And so once you know what, God had a plan. 2 months later, my dear friend who's a nurse out of Canada, she called me up one day and she said, Renita, I've got this incredible technology. I know your mother has Parkinson's. She said, I've been using this technology on my neighbor lady who has Parkinson's, and we've seen incredible results. And I said, okay, Doris, I trust this woman. She's kind of a wise old owl. She busted out of that kind of corrupt medical system up there. She's independent now. Anyway, long story short, she sent me the patches. And Mike, you know, they're just like this little patch. She sent them to me in a baggie. So I get a baggie full of these things. And I honestly don't know what they are, right? But I trust Doris because, you know, she's very wise with health. And she said, just put it on your mom, on the back of her neck, or really anywhere. I have mine on my chest today, but Mike, I know you wear yours on the back of your neck. She said, put it on the back of your neck for your mom and have her wear it 12 hours on and then take it off for 12 hours. And, you know, let me know if she sees any results. And I was thinking to myself, when I got the patches, I'm like, what is this little Band-Aid going to do? Right? Because I had never really been exposed to something called photobiomodulation or phototherapy. So that's kind of how I started. And, you know, my claim to fame is on the 11th day, my mom, I went to her house and it was 8:30 in the morning and she was actually walking without her walker. And I don't know if you know anyone with Parkinson's, but mornings are generally pretty tough because they don't produce dopamine in the brain. And usually she doesn't not use that walker until about 11. And here it was, 8:30 a.m. She came out with her cute polka dot pajamas and she said, hey, Nita, can I make you some eggs? And I was like, what in the world is going on? Where's the walker? And she said, it's in the bedroom. And I said, what's it doing in the bedroom? She said, sitting next to my bed. And I'm like, how come you don't need it? She goes, I don't know. I didn't need it today, so it's in the bedroom. And, you know, I don't want to tell people that are watching this that it's going to treat, cure, and prevent all the diseases of the world. That's not true. But what I can tell you is the patch has drastically improved my mom's life. I mean, now she's walking without the walker. Her tremor is gone. Her penmanship came back. She's peeling potatoes for German potato salad again. So lots of great things. So that's kind of how I got started, Mike. But I want to talk about everybody else because the question is where's your stem cells at, right? What are your stem cells doing? So we're going to keep flipping through that presentation there. And let's get to the next, you know, question, like how does this little tiny patch work? And I know you asked this to David Schmidt the other day, right? You said, David, like, how is this patch working? It's like not a drug, you know, there's nothing soaking from the patch into your skin. So it's not transdermal, like you don't put it on your skin and something leaches into your skin. That's not how the patch works. The patch actually has all natural organic ingredients in it. They form little nanocrystals. So we're talking things natural like oxygen, water, sugar, salt, like little tiny naturally occurring ingredients. And they form different crystal patterns in the patch. And what happens is we put the patch on our body. And Mike, I know a lot of people don't talk like this, but we're actually made of light. You know, Jesus mentions light 265 times in the Word of God. And we don't talk enough about light, but we're made of light. And how you know that is we're about, what, 98.6 degrees? So our body, that low-level heat, emits light. Okay. And that's why when you walk through the airport and you put your hands up in the air and they can read different things on your body, or, you know, that's why those night goggles were so important that, that they left behind over there in that country, because those night goggles help people to see. Incredible, because your body is made of heat. So when they look through those night goggles with the military, they can detect heat. Okay. If you've ever had a thermogram done, that's another way of detecting heat. So we're made of light, we're made of heat. So what happens is we put this patch on our body anywhere. You simply just rip off the back of it, just like this, super easy. Mike, you can put yours on if you don't have it on already, right?
I got it on already. I already got it on.
Awesome. So you can take it off just like that. And a lot of people like to put it on the base of their neck, or you could also put it right underneath your belly button. Or maybe you say, Renita, I've got this bad shoulder. Can I put it there? Sure. Put it anywhere. Put it where it hurts is what I tell people, right? The truth is it's systemic. So that means it will go to whatever area in your body needs the relief the fastest and the most. Okay. So what happens is when you put that patch on, it heats up those organic nanocrystals. And because they're crystals, they're going to reflect light back into the body. And when you reflect that light back into the body, it activates a copper peptide, Mike. This copper peptide is called GHKCU. Now you could go Google that, and I'm going to tell you the beauty industry, there's a reason why you look 15 years younger from our first meeting, because the beauty industry has been using this peptide for decades, because they literally call it the fountain of youth, this GHKCU. So they put it on topically a lot, right? What we're doing is we're actually activating that peptide internally, not topically. We're activating that GHK peptide inside of our bodies. And when we activate that peptide, it actually activates our own stem cells. So don't worry, because you said you're over 60, so you've got like, you know, an 80% reduction of stem cell activity, but you got the patch on. So now you're moving in the right direction, right? And, you know, when I first started with this, I actually was listening to this team of doctors talk about this, and they actually held up this book. I'm going to show it to you guys right now. And I love it. It's by this Dr. Lauren Picard. It's called GHK Peptides for Skin, Hair, and Beauty. And this Dr. Lauren Picard, Mike, he actually did all of his research over at the University of Minnesota. So, you know, being in North Dakota, I'm like, oh, I love this guy already, because he did all of his research. Back in 1973, he discovered this peptide. So this is not something new. You just probably haven't heard it yet from your doctor. Now, the beautiful thing when you read this book, it doesn't just talk about skin and hair and beauty. All right, Mike, you're looking better and better. We're looking younger. But actually, when you really study and understand this peptide, you know, the patch activates this peptide. So you put the X39 patch on, it activates this copper peptide. And so I love it on the back of the book here, this Dr. Lauren Picard. I'm just going to read you a couple things, what he says after doing all this research that it's going to do. So listen to this. Research from many studies and universities established that the GHK peptide controls over 6,000 human genes. That's almost 1/3 of our human genome, Mike. It's a big deal, right? We have genes. Some genes are aging us faster. Some genes are creating more inflammation. Some genes are not very good at detoxing, which is why people sometimes get cancers and things like that, because their bodies can't detoxify correctly, right? So what this Dr. Lauren Picard says in this book, he says, this is what he says on the back of the book: tightens loose skin and thickens older skin. Hey, I've seen that on your face now too. Repairs protective skin barrier, improves your fine lines and overall appearance. Again, this is all research studies by this Dr. Lauren Picard. Reduces photo damage. I used to have a big old liver spot on my cheek. Have you people that you see these sunspots on their face, Mike? I had this big old liver spot, and I'd go in and my esthetician would shave it off, and I'd come back 3 months later and she'd shave it off again. It just kept growing back. And wouldn't you know it, I was on the patch about 6 weeks, and I looked in the mirror one day and I thought, you know what? I don't see that liver spot. How is that possible? So it was really like an inside job that was happening. It also protects your skin cells from UV radiation. David Schmidt, the founder of LifeWave, has said, you know, he's Irish. And so it's really great when you put that X39 patch on when you go out in the sun, Mike, because it'll actually protect you from getting, basically skin damage. So people that around my family that are very fair skinned say, it's crazy. I don't burn as easily or as quickly when I have that patch on. I'm like, that's a great thing. And the final thing it says here, it says fight pain and anxiety. Again, this is all research from this doctor, Lauren Picard. Get the book if you want. It activates genes of the ubiquitin proteasome for cell cleansing. I'm going to tell you what, Mike, people get on this thing, they all need a good old cell cleansing after the last 3.5 years of craziness, right? And one other thing, I could go on and read all the things he says, but this is a big deal. Reduces fibrinogen levels. Fibrinogen, Mike, are the top predictor of cardiovascular heart disease. So you know who you hear these doctors that are talking about myocarditis, pericarditis, and they look at fibrinogen levels in the body. And if those levels are elevated, there's a higher propensity for heart disease. Well, guess what the GHK peptide does? It naturally reduces fibrinogen levels. Holy cow. I mean, if you have had COVID or have had the vaccine, I would really strongly encourage you to put on the patch. I think it's going to be a step in the right direction for your health. So we'll go back to the flip chart. I just wanted to show you that little book in case people are interested in furthering their knowledge like I was. But the company's 19 years old, Mike. So it's not a new company. It's debt-free. We love David Schmidt because I'll tell you what, he had me and my husband Scott over here in North Dakota when he said my first superhero was Jesus Christ. I was like, we're in. This guy is a genius and he gives honor to our king. The company went from 20 million a year to 280 million in the last 2 years. And the reason that is because they launched the X39 stem cell activation patch. So when they launched this stem cell activation patch, Mike, basically what happened is the company skyrocketed because we are the only technology in the world that is a phototherapy device. You don't have to plug it in and you put it on your body. Your body is the plug-in. You don't need a 110 or 220 volt here, Mike. You just put this bad boy in your body heat activates that device. And as it pushes those frequencies of light back into the body, that's where the magic happens. We're open in over 75 countries. Like I said, the company's been around for 20 years. It's going to be the 20-year anniversary next year, right? And so they're on track this year to do over $400 million. That tells you how fast people are seeing results and gaining traction with this. So we really believe the best is yet to come. Let's hit the next slide. There's so much great information on here. So here's David. Of course, you know this guy. He's a genius. Over 130 patents this guy has. He's no slouch. Mike, I'm sure you have some patents, right? You got a couple patents?
Yep. I've got one big one. I got the My Pillow.
Cheers.
That's my patent.
Cheers to the My Pillow. One big one is all it takes. Well, this
That's
guy,
right.
and you know this because you're a businessman, to get 130 patents, holy Moses, like who does that, right? This is David Schmidt. So David is just a genius of a human being, and he's a scientist, an inventor, like I said, a rock solid human being. So I'm really honored to represent his company and these products because we've seen incredible results. Let's hit it again. And guess what? We haven't even seen it all yet. He's got a 20-year patent on the X39 technology. So, he took that out in 2020. So we got about a good 17-year run here, Mike, to get out and activate people's stem cells naturally with this incredible wearable, affordable device, right? So I love it because it's not another Me Too product. You can't go to CVS and buy this. You can't go to Walmart and buy this. You can't, generally you can't get this from your doctor's appointments unless your doctor is part of LifeWave like you are, Mike. So it's really a special opportunity in the form of wellness and also as a financial opportunity, which is, I always think physical and financial health go side by side. What I've realized with my mom having Parkinson's is most of the things that are helping my mom with her wellness journey and for her to continue to improve as she ages with this Parkinson, unfortunately, it hasn't been a drug because we know that for every drug, there's 1 to 3 side effects, and we know there's no cures for a lot of these diseases that are happening in the world, right? So we're thankful for this product. We're thankful that we're part of it. Let's hit it again. I think we're going to come up on here in a couple pictures that we have, but these are some things that will happen when you activate your stem cells. Now, again, individual results may vary. So don't look at this and be like, my pain didn't go away day 1. Well, my question is how long have you been in pain? Give it some time. The body takes at least 90 days for the cells to turn over. And now, Mike, I know you've been on the patch for 90 days, right?
Yes.
At least, yeah. So what? And that's why you're starting to look so so brighter. And I'm, you know, I always say your skin is a representation of what's happening internally. So that tells me you probably have had some good things happen. But reduced inflammation, supports wound healing, energy and vitality, mental clarity. I can't tell you how many people put the patch on and say, Renita, that brain fog is just gone. I'm like, praise the Lord. Enhances sports performance. So you don't need to be, you know, 80 and decrepit and 14. All incredible national champs, performance athletes and running. And they all wear the patch because guess what they want? Muscle recovery. They want the competitive edge, right? And so, and then of course, the improved skin appearance, we see that a lot. But I think we actually have some live pictures next, or some active ones. Oh, this is first. So this is actually a great, this is incredible actually, Mike. So this is a topography map. And what that does is it goes in and it measures the amount of brain coherence. So the more brain coherence we have, basically the better we're going to feel. Okay, the more balanced we're going to be, less occurrence of depression, less occurrence of anxiety, you're sleeping better, your memory improves, right? So we want really good brain coherence. Okay, so just think coherence. It's like coming together, right? It's all functioning and everything is ticking like it should be. Well, this was a 77-year-old woman, and red means there's a lot of inflammation, okay? And blues and the greens mean that there's less inflammation. So when this woman started, you can see session 1 here, she had quite a bit of inflammation, which means that she didn't have very good brain coherence. You know, she wasn't feeling quite right. Her thinking capacity was not what it should have been, but that's exactly why she started on the patch. And so session 2, this is like in a period of 2 months, this is changing this woman's brain coherence. So that's why I encourage people, don't wear the patch a day. Wear the patch 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, because the longer you wear it, the actually better brain coherence you're going to have, right? Because it takes time for those tissues to turn over and repair and rejuvenate. So give it some time, drink plenty of water. I say eat plenty of electrolytes. I'm crazy about electrolytes. I actually have a piece of watermelon sitting here. This is a great food this time of year, Mike, because electrolytes are something that aids our body in healing as well. So when people get on the patch, eat watermelon every day. It's really good to help that healing of your body and the restoration of your body. So let's hit it again. I think the next one might be, oh, this is a really cool proven result. So David Schmidt just talked about this 1 hour ago, and we pulled it off and we threw it on this presentation. But this is from using the LifeWave patches. Now, Mike, I know you got a story about the LifeWave down there with someone at the My Pillow factory, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, it was up here at the call center. Yeah, she used them, and she had 2 car accidents, and she was in pain all the time, and she used it. It was immediate, and she used it for a couple weeks, and now she's not even using that one. She's using the X39, but the one that was for the pain, it's gone, and she's on top of the world. And that was the only variable too, by the way, everybody. That was the only variable that she had. It's not like she changed anything else. And so we can say, or at least she's saying that it's 100% from getting on board with these patches. And I think people need to know there's different patches for different things, which that's something I was going to ask you is how, when you talk about the crystals on the patches, and then you have like the pain one and you have the cardigan one, you have these different ones. Is that different crystals? Is that with different ingredients on each one?
Yep. So it's going to be a different arrangement of the crystals, and then it's going to be different, basically amino acids in there as well, because the amino acids will activate the different peptides in the body, right? Okay. And so, and I mean, David could get really scientific with you and tell you exactly every amino acid in the patch and what it's doing and how it's activating it. But truth be told is, see, I tell you what, wearing is believing, right? Like you just said, when you put these on, I mean, there's no denying you can take somebody who's a 10 on a pain scale. In fact, I have a quick story. Our youngest son, Rocco, rolled his ankle when we were down in Florida. And I said to my husband, Scott, I had heard about the LifeWave patches. I hadn't used them yet. So this is the one Mike is talking about, LifeWave. I hadn't used them yet. And I said to my husband, you know what? I wish I had those LifeWave because I would put them on Rocco's ankle because he rolled his ankle on the beach down in Florida. And so let me just show you the IceWave. I'm going to show you in real time, Mike, how this patch works. So when you get it, there's actually going to be two different little sleeves in there. One's going to be a brown patch like that. I think you can see it. And then the other one is going to be a white patch, but they both come in there. So there's actually two. Let me see, get in there. Come this way, Renita, this way. There we go. See, one's brown, one's right. Okay. Yep. So what you do with that, Mike, so let's say that you'd have a sore shoulder. Go down to the very bottom of your feet, Mike, and you could put a patch white on the right. So say it with me, white on the right, tan on the left. It's easy to remember, white right, tan left. So if you had full body pain, let's say you've got arthritis, or maybe like in the situation of my mom with her Parkinson's where they really get sore, you would just take the white patch and you'd go down and you'd actually put it on the bottom of your foot, okay? The white on the right, and then you'd go over to your left foot and put the tan on the left foot. So it's almost like I feel like it's energy surging through your body, literally, right? So that's one way to use the IceWave, white on the right side of the body. And you could even do it on your upper back and neck. Let's say you say, Renita, I've got a terrible headache, neck ache, backache. You could take the white patch and put the white on the right, and then you put your tan on your left, and you just hold it there. You take the backs off and you put them on there and you let them go to work for you. The other thing you can do, if you say you had a bad shoulder or something, I'm just going to do it in real time. I could take this patch off and let's say, okay, Renita, my shoulder hurts like right here. You would take the brown patch and you put it directly on your point of pain, Mike. So let's say it's your shoulder and you put that right there. Ah, that hurts right there. But you put the brown patch directly on it. Then you take the white patch. And with the white patch, you're not going to take off the back yet, Mike. This is the cool part. You don't take the back off yet. You would just hold it above, maybe 1 inch above that brown one. And I'd sit there and I'd take a couple deep breaths, a couple times, and I'd say, hey, did the pain go down? Did it stay the same? Did it get worse? And most, my son, when I did this to his ankle, he goes, Mom, nothing happened. So they call it the clock method, Mike. So we go from 12 o'clock over to 3 o'clock. So then I'd hold it there and I'd say, Mike, take a deep breath, hold it for about 15 to 30 seconds, okay? And if you say, oh, I don't feel any different, it still is a 9 on a 1 to 10 scale. And then I'd go down here and I'd hold it down here and I'd say, Mike, take a deep breath. This is 6 o'clock, right? We're just going around the 12, 3, 6, 9. And I'm going to tell you, when you get it on the right spot, literally your entire face will go from a grimace of pain to like a relaxed face. And that's exactly what happened with my 14-year-old. And he goes, Mom, you're not going to believe it, but my pain is like a 6. It went from like a 10 to a 6. I said, you're kidding. And then I went over here to 9 o'clock with Rocco. I'm on his foot. And I said, take a deep breath there. And he said, this is going to be crazy to you, Mom, but the pain is like a 1. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like I was watching it happen in real time. So where the pain is the less than, Mike, the least amount of pain, I would take that white patch off. The brown one stays on the body already. And then I would put that white one right where I just had it. You can wear that bad boy for 24 hours. So that is like instant pain relief. So that thing that you showed, it is awesome. That thing that you showed. So all it's doing energetically, it's positive, negative charge. And what pain is just basically a disruption, your disrupted nerve flow, maybe a blockage. Think about people that have knee problems where they've got old scar tissues and then they got to go back in there and then they cut it out, right, Mike? So what are they trying to do when they cut it out with that surgery? They're getting rid of that blockage because it's a reduced energy flow, right? So all the patch does is it helps to naturally improve the energy flow. So this picture on the right here is incredible because that happened. This picture happened in 5 minutes. This was this guy's inflammation, and then this was this guy's inflammation 5 minutes later after applying the IceWave patches. How awesome is that? So, when you can visually test this with clinical studies, which, like I said, LifeWave has 89 clinical studies, so you don't even need to trust me. Go read the research. Go look at the studies yourself. They're all there, and they're incredible. So we can hit it again. So that was my little live application. It's called the clock.
And, Renita, one of the things David said, too, I want the audience to realize is these are not a mask for pain. He said it's the body doing what it's supposed to do to naturally, like you say, remove the inflammation and clearing that blockage or whatever. So it's like I say, my the gal we have here at My Pillow, Christina, she she doesn't even need anymore. It actually, whatever it did, it worked for her, and she's not wearing it. And this was long-term pain she had with these 2 car accidents. She actually has metal in her neck, and she doesn't wear that particular patch. She's on to these other ones now for other things, but that solved that problem. And she's she's like a walking testimony around here. She's going, "Hey, everybody!" So.
And that's just it. I think the biggest thing that I teach people, because I've been a health coach for 25 years, Mike, I teach people God designed our bodies to heal. And sometimes it's just removing the blocks or adding. I mean, I didn't pay $20,000 for this. When I found out this technology was about $100 a month to activate my own stem cells, I'm like, this is a no-brainer. Like, right. I'm not exactly sure what it's going to do, but I know it's bound to do something because I am 46, right? So let's hit it again. I think we have the picture of my dad's legs. Oh, this is a real quick thing. First few days, this is kind of set your expectations, everybody. Your 4,000 genes begin to reset. Now, I'm going to tell you, when that happens, Mike, you're not going to feel that. Like, you don't feel your hair growing, right? You didn't feel your skin getting better, how it looks now. You don't feel like your teeth improving. You don't feel, my mom, she used to have these spider veins, they call them, like all over her legs, like she's 77. Do you know that you can't find a spider vein on my mom's leg? It's just incredible. I can't even believe it. And so, but my mom's now been wearing the patch almost for a full year. So again, look at the length of time. Of course, her legs are going to look like she's 30. She's been on this patch for a year. So her body's just been in a repair mode and rejuvenation mode for a full year. So within 6 weeks, you're going to find that your brain becomes balanced. Within 3 months, Mike, which is what you're at, your collagen is increased, which is why you're looking so great, decreases those wrinkles, increases those hair growth, the hair follicles enlarge and get better. Here's a crazy thing. Check this out. Within 6 months, David Schmidt, they actually did a small study where they brought people in and they said, let's look at their vascular age. So vascular age is a big topic right now because of COVID, right? How's the heart looking? How's the blood vessels? How's the arteries, right? Because of all this myocarditis and everything. So what they did is they brought these 15 people in and they measured their vascular age. And they had them wear only the X39 patch, just one patch, Mike. X39, the stem cell activation patch. And then they brought them back in basically 6 months later and said, let's look at their vascular age again. And 14 of those 15 people had reduced their vascular age by an average of 8 years. There is not a drug that can do that in the marketplace. So just for that one reason, and the reason I think it is because remember when I showed you the book and this Dr. Lauren Picard, his research shows that it reduces the fibrinogen levels. Fibrinogen levels is the biggest predictor of heart attacks and heart disease. So we have a way to naturally reduce that, right? Our bodies can naturally do that. It's so amazing. So let's hit it again. That's an encouraging word on that page. You can all go to startx39.com. You're not going to buy anything there. There's nothing for sale there. That's just a great educational resource because I believe in people researching. The biggest threat we have against big business, big pharma, big everything is educate yourself. Start reading, right? And so when you go to startx39.com, there's going to be 3 great videos on there. There's an 18-minute video of David Schmidt himself explaining the technology in depth. You can find all the clinical studies and the patents there, Mike. It's all there. So if you want to really kind of do your own due diligence, go to startx39.com and then make sure that when you decide you want to purchase, you got to get on Mike Lindell's team because he's got this massive growing team of patriots that are taking back their power by believing they can, by believing their bodies are designed by God to heal. Like, this is a big deal. So let's hit it again. And I think the next one, so this kind of shows you where to wear it. Mike, I know you wear yours on your neck and also under your belly button. Those are 2 really great places. Honestly, with the X39, you can't get it wrong, Mike. You could put it on your nose. You could put it on your butt cheek. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter because the patch is systemic. And what that means is it will go to work with what area of the body needs repair and rejuvenation for you. And you're going to look different than me, right? And we're going to look different than our spouses because everybody's level of repair and regeneration needs to work on different areas, right? So remember, stem cells will go to the biggest point of inflammation in the body. All right, let's hit it again. You wear the patch 12 hours on, 12 hours off. So this is my dad. My dad, total patriot, Marine, loves you, Mike. And so I got started. Remember I told you the story about my mom with the Parkinson's? Well, my dad had been doctoring for about, 6 full months. with these legs on the left here. This was my dad's actual picture of the leg the morning I put the patch on him. So that morning when my cute mom was walking without her walker, I said to my dad, hey, Dad, where are those patches that Dora sent? He said, I think they're in your mother's bedroom. I said, why don't we grab one of those and put it on you? And he said, Renita, I thought the patch was for Parkinson's. I said, I don't know what the patch is for, but if it did that to Mom on the 11th day, she's walking without her walker, I'm like, I think it's going to help you. Like, who knows what it could do for you, Dad? So we put it on my dad's leg and actually on his back of his neck. And his legs, I took a picture, you can see it, just edemic, swollen. Mike, I will tell you, we went to 12 different doctors. How you do anything is how you do everything. If you can't tell by now, I move fast, I talk fast, I'm hit to get them well. I'm relentless at it. I love people healing and restoring their bodies. I believe that we're called to a life of abundance here on earth. And so, long story short, I put that patch on my dad. 12 doctors, we had been to his heart doctor, kidney doctor, chiropractors, naturopaths, dermatologists, I mean, you name it, to no avail. They said he's going to live with his legs like that. He hated it. He could not stand it. They were oozing. We put one patch on. This was my dad's legs 24 hours later, Mike. My dad was a one-patch miracle. My mom, 11-patch miracle. My dad, one-patch miracle. This was my dad's legs 5 weeks later. He joked and said I should enter a sexy legs contest because the point is like this, his body, whatever, I think it was stuck like in a detox mechanism where his body at 80 years old could not detox, right? He puts the patch on, bam, turns on that detox mechanism. And I tell you what, if a picture's worth $1 million, this was it. You know, how I started with my LifeWave business is I posted this picture of my dad's legs. It was just a picture I posted. I think I had 100 people inbox me and say, oh my gosh, I want to try this patch, right? And then 5 weeks later, my dad was able to get off of 100% of his blood pressure medication. Now, individual results may vary. I'm not going to say that's going to happen for everybody. But my dad got really diligent at increasing his potassium and electrolytes and wearing that patch every day. And I tell you what, he shocked his doctor. 5 weeks later, they took him off of all 3 blood pressure meds. Wow. So kind of a big deal. That's how it kind of got started. And we can hit it one more time. I think there's one more, I think. Oh yeah. You know what, the question is why is everybody watching this? And I know they're watching it because they love you, Mike, just like my husband and I love you. But for everybody, when you're looking at this, what's most important for you? Is it your health? Is it your family's health? Maybe you have an aging parent that you feel has really been doctoring and not getting any better. Maybe you have a family member that's been doctoring and not getting any better. And I'm thankful for the modern medical system. Don't get me wrong. Mike, if I get ran over in the street, don't just put a patch on me, okay? Take me to the ER. But I honestly think for long-term health, they're not very solution-oriented. It's been a mass system where people, they just literally a masked system, right? Where they're masking our symptoms, they're masking all the things that are going on. And so what the patch just does is it allows that natural, they call it bioenergetic or bioelectrical flow to flow from head to toe in the body. And when we can flow, when our energy is flowing from head to toe, guess what? We don't have the pain. We have more energy. Our thinking gets better. Our attitude gets better, right? My 23-year-old was wearing the patch, and on the 8th day, he came to me and he said, Mom, he was actually the only kid on his entire track team that wasn't vaccinated. And he caught hell for it, Mike. I mean, boy, these buddies of his said, you're going to kill our unborn, kids and things like this. He just stood his ground. I was so proud of him. But when he came back from college, he was a little beaten up and a little anxiety ridden, I would say. And we put the patch on him. And I tell you what, it was on day 8. He came to us, my husband and I, and he said, I think there's something to this patch. He said, I just feel better. He said, I'm thinking clearer. I'm thinking straighter. He said, and we could see it, Mike, because he wasn't waking up at 11 a.m. anymore. He was up at 8. Like, so something has shifted in him where it was like his energy came back and his attitude changed. So it's not just for the old and decrepit, right, and worn out. I mean, they should use it because, my poor dad with those legs, I always make the joke, my dad, who's 80, 95% reduction of stem cells. He probably had like four circulating stem cells going through his whole body. And then we put the patch on, and then his body said, oh, I'm supposed to create stem cells, which is probably why it happened so fast for him, right? Because he was 80 and he didn't have any stem cells or very few, right? So we see a lot of miracles with the elderly. I could just go on and tell you story after story. But anyway, so why are you here? I was going to show you the next slide because it's very important that people understand there is an opportunity here. And I just used the example. I've got about 200 doctors and nurses and surgeons and chiropractors and homeopaths. They're all on my team because I'm a big bridger from west to east. I want people doing whatever it takes to get well and stay well and be well. But the big pharma model, when you look at it, this is incredible to a lot of people. They don't understand this. There's only 2 countries in the world that advertise pharmaceuticals, Mike. The good old USA and the UK. If you go to Mexico, if you go to Costa Rica, if you go to Aruba, they're not having pharmaceutical commercials. So we know that there is this monopoly. It's a trillions of dollar operation that's going on and has continued to go on. Well, even with the vaccines, we've realized that in the last, they're the big timers, right? But 7 of those 10 in 2020 spent 37% more money on advertising than research and development. So sometimes we think we're getting these products from these drug manufacturers that are so safe, right? Safe and effective and tested. Well, come to find out, 37% more annually is spent on advertisements than on the research and development. Now, that doesn't make me feel very safe, I'll be honest with you, because a lot of these drugs have a lot of chemicals. And so, the big pharma model is kind of a model where, you have this lobbyists that are going on in Washington, D.C., right? And they're making these drugs and there's lobbyists involved and they're getting paid a whole lot of money. And then it goes into the different pharmacies and the distribution channels. And then, of course, there's hospitals and physicians' offices. And we found out recently that there's kickbacks on these drugs, right? You get more people vaccinated, they're getting more kickbacks. And so all of this is a business. We shouldn't even call it healthcare. We should call it the medical establishment. That's what it is. It's a business. And they're not giving it away for free. And if they are, we should start worrying about it, right? So at the end of the day, you look down, finally it gets back to the patient, right? You got that drug that you're supposed to be on. You probably still have to pay a copay for it. And maybe it's necessary. I'm not saying that drugs sometimes aren't necessary. They are in certain situations. Like David Schmidt will say, for a short window, you might need those drugs. They might save your life and be crucial. But what happens is they've trained us that we need to be on this drug then for a lifetime. And what happens with every drug, Mike, there's something called polypharmacy. Polypharmacy means people on average in America, I can't even express to you, most Americans are on some type of drug or medication, right? Truth be told, a lot of people are on 2, 3, 5 medications at once. Well, there's something called polypharmacy where if you go talk to a pharmacist, they won't even know the drug interactions of the 5 drugs you're on. They don't do clinical studies on 5 drugs altogether, right? Think about that for a second. So people get on these drugs and they're on these drugs and it's creating all these chemical reactions. Just because we don't see them doesn't mean they're not happening. They eventually come out when we find out we need, kidney dialysis, right? Because most drugs have to be filtered through your kidney and your liver, right? And then what happens is they give you another drug to treat the symptoms from the drug you're just on. And I want to say one huge thing about the patch. The patch is so cool, Mike. It doesn't have to be filtered through your stomach, your liver, or your kidneys. I got a dear friend who's a pharmacist here in Bismarck, and he said, Renita, a lot of people just need things to be energetically through light, through sound, maybe an intravenous, maybe a B12 injection. He said most people are not even absorbing and assimilating all the stuff they're putting into their mouth because their digestive systems are shot. They've got leaky gut dysbiosis, they've got, kidney damage, they've got high liver enzymes, they've got all this stuff going on. The beautiful thing about this patch, the reason I think it works so fast for so many people is it doesn't have to filter through your kidney, your stomach, or your liver. It's phototherapy, Mike. It actually, it's just the most incredible technology. Like I said, nothing's leaching into the skin and then it goes through your stomach and your kidneys and your liver. Nothing like that. What's happening with this patch, it's actually just activating your own peptides through light, through that reflection of light. Think about this. So this is incredible that it doesn't have to filter through all those organ systems, which are probably compromised anyway due to age, due to eating too much processed food, due to too many drugs, right? So we really have our hands on a gold mine with this. So we call it the freedom model, Mike. And so we're kind of moving out of that kind of that juggernaut of all of these layers of all of this stuff and going directly to wholesale right? We're buying at wholesale. You got this patch when you signed up. You get it at wholesale directly from the company. It doesn't have to go through, lobbying or pharmacies or any of that business. You basically order it and it comes direct to your doorstep from that company. That is so cool. And you're getting it at the wholesale price when you join Mike's team, which is awesome. Wholesale is better than retail. And the beautiful thing is, if you tell me, Mike, Renita, this patch is working. It's working for the people in my factory. It's working for my family. Can I tell my next door neighbor about this who's got a bad knee? Absolutely. I just think of the gospel. The fastest way it's going to spread is by word of mouth, right? And so what happens is I got a little old 90-year-old lady on my team. She put this patch on, and literally she was calling everybody 2 weeks earlier. Her daughter told me, Mary called me and said, my mom's calling everybody to say she's dying. She's calling to say goodbye. I said, Mary, get your mom on the patch. It's going to help her. She got her mom on the patch, and her goal was to walk in to Mass on Easter Sunday. And guess what? This woman hadn't left the bed in 2 years. 8th day, she said, we caught mom walking around the house in the middle of the night getting a drink of water. She hasn't left her bed in 2 years. Wow. She calls me on the 13th day. She said, I don't know what's going on. My mom is calling everybody, telling them about this patch. She sent me a picture of her mom going into Mass on Easter Sunday, walking into church with her patches and coming out, just praising God. So the point is, you guys, this thing is for real. And so that little old lady, you know what she said? She said to her daughter, Mary, she said, Mary, I want you to give me my own account because I got all the ladies that I play cards with, and I want to sign them up for this patch because they all have aches and pains and they need it. Now, that little lady is making a couple $100 a week, Mike. And listen, she is changing lives of everybody around her at 90. That is called the freedom model. I love this model. Take back your power by believing you can. It's awesome. So.
Absolutely. You're and you know why is Renita the best infomercial I've ever seen here? Is because she believes in the product. I've always said before, and I've told everyone, any product, when I invented my pillow, I invented it it was a problem solution and it worked. And I believed in it. That's why I'm still talking about it 20 years later. And this product, LifeWave, everybody, I had to use it first, and now I'm all in. I can't wait to. I couldn't wait, and I did give it out to all my employees that wanted to get on board, and they've all got their own individual stories. I have some of them calling me so excited, going, "You won't believe what happened to my husband, and you won't believe this." And I'm going, and you hear this, and unless you hear it like that firsthand, they're talking from the heart, and it's not. And it becomes very real. And I love the fact that you said, one of the things you said, we spend all our time being reactive and end up on all these different drugs, and they haven't tested. I've always wondered that myself. You're on 5 different things. Well, whoever tests to see if they're all safe to be together, all 5, or things like that. And what better way to be proactive with our body being, but it's being in a way with LifeWave, it's being reactive and proactive at the same time. You're getting your body, getting rid of having the body do its own healing, but then also being proactive to get healthier and feeling younger and looking younger. So thanks, Renita. This has been amazing, and we got to get you back on. I might have to get you start selling my pillows, I think.
Oh, we love my pillows. We have them in all of our beds. So we're big believers. I appreciate all that you do. We're always praying for you over there, Mike. God bless you.
Well, thank you. Thank you, and God bless you too. Thanks.
Thank you. Get patched, everyone.